This episode is a perfect example of why quarantine procedures are necessary. Something makes me think these lot wouldn't have survived COVID. Welcome back to WTF Star Trek, the show where I film in front of a green screen and then forget that the pride shirt I'm wearing has a green stripe in it. What does that have to do with Star Trek? Fucking nothing, I'm just an idiot. And speaking of Pride, there are links to Pride charities in the description that you can support this month. Now, on with the episode. The episode opens with the Enterprise in orbit of the planet Psi 2000, which is a frozen wasteland that is about to rip apart. A landing party is sent down to retrieve a scientific party that is examining the planet. But as the landing party beams down, they discover that the base is frozen solid and that every scientist inside is dead. Now kids, take this as a lesson. That is what happens when you don't close your doors and windows in winter. While looking around, they discover all sorts of odd behaviours that the scientists were exhibiting. One example being that one scientist was taking a shower fully clothed. That's not odd, that's just depression. While examining a body, this crewman takes off his glove to scratch his nose. He then leaves it off while touching a frozen desk and what looks like blood gets on him. This guy clearly doesn't understand the concept of contamination. Not only did he get infected with something, he could have also tampered with evidence while touching that desk. The landing party are beamed back up to the Enterprise and put through a contamination. As soon as the captain is notified that they are back aboard, they are ordered to go to sickbay to be thorough. When looking over Spock, McCoy says,
"Your blood pressure is practically non-existent, assuming you call that green stuff in your veins blood."
McCoy, as a Federation doctor, you study multiple different species, and yet you're being prejudiced against Spock for having copper-based blood. McCoy is racist and xenophobic. Pass it on. The two are given a clean bill of health and sent on their way, with whatever Joey has flying under the radar. Hey, that's the first officer from the pilot. Joey heads over to the mess hall to get some food when Sulu and Riley come in and join him. Joey starts to rant and rave about how humans have no business being in space and how they are polluting and destroying it. Honestly, Joey is the smartest man on the Enterprise. Their whole idea of exploration is just another form of colonialism. In an act of desperation, Joey picks up his knife and turns it on himself. And as Sulu and Riley try to wrestle away the knife, they all fall and Joey stabs himself. Although, that knife is not sharp enough to stab him like that.
Actually, Callum, human tissue can be punctured by blunt objects if pushed with enough force.
And how the hell do you know that?
I think we should just carry on with the episode.
Anyway, Sulu and Riley have the disease now. And I'm a little scared. Somebody please send help. Why would they need to be performing such invasive surgery for a stab wound? Dermal regenerators are a thing in Star Trek, right? Just zzz, done. Easy, healed. Joey dies and McCoy wonders why, saying that the wounds weren't that severe. Ooh, I wonder why. Could it have anything to do with the unnecessary invasive surgery? You know, in this century, doctors get sacked for doing shit like that. When Kirk is called to sickbay, Sulu decides to abandon his post to go do a workout. Once Spock realises Sulu is gone, he questions Riley, who is now being affected by the disease. Spock relieves Riley and tells Uhura to take his station, to which Riley responds,
"Now that's what I like. Let the women work too. Universal suffering."
Jesus Christ. Honestly, that just sounds like...
Equality means I can punch a woman. Equal rights, equal funds.
Riley is ordered to go to sickbay, and when he does, he asks the nurse what happened to Joey. And before she can respond, he interrupts by answering his own question with the most monotone delivery in this entire episode, and infects her right before he leaves. What a dick. Sulu, now oiled up for some reason, decides to get his sword and start playing swashbuckler. To be honest, I'm surprised a madman is able to run around the Enterprise threatening people with a sword. The Enterprise starts to hurtle towards Psi 2000 as the planet begins to shrink. But as they try to pull away, the helm doesn't respond and they discover they can't reach the engine room. Sulu then makes his way up to the bridge, and when Kirk tells him to put his sword away, Kirk is stupid enough to put his palm on the tip. Cue dick joke. I don't have a dick joke. I'm just saying cue dick joke because that's the dick joke. Haha, funny. Fuck. Hey look, it's the first ever Vulcan neck pinch. Nice. Finding out that Riley now has control of the engine room and has shut off all the engines, Kirk makes his way down to the engine room. Engine. Riley starts to make announcements to the crew claiming to be the captain. He then starts to dictate how the women on the ship should wear their hair and that they should wear less makeup because women shouldn't look made up. Riley is a fucking pig. Confirmed. As chaos ensues on the Enterprise, Spock makes his way to the sickbay to look for McCoy, but instead finds the nurse. The nurse then touches Spock and confesses her love to him, inadvertently infecting him. The nurse has a boner for Spock. Pass it on. For a humanoid who's supposed to be in full control of his emotions, Spock seems to be constantly losing control of his emotions. In at least 3 other episodes so far, we've seen him smiling, and now he's crying. In an attempt to restart the engines as quickly as possible, Scotty and Kirk try to devise a way to fix the matter and antimatter without blowing up the ship, so Kirk suggests creating a controlled antimatter explosion that can be vented to break them from the planet's gravity well. Science! Kirk goes to find Spock to get him to create a formula for the antimatter implosion. But when he's found, Spock is crying and saying that he could never tell his mother how much he loved her. Spock has mummy issues. Confirmed. And let's face it, probably daddy issues as well. His family is fucked. In an attempt to snap Spock out of it, Kirk starts to hit him. Kirk beats his own staff. Kirk is a bad boss. Although, safe to say at this point he's probably already infected. Spock, the ship is a few minutes away from crashing into a shrinking planet, and you're the only one who can devise a formula to save everyone. Is this really the time to be having an emotional breakthrough? Save that shit for therapy! Kirk makes his way to the bridge, and once he does, McCoy gives him the serum to counteract the disease. But was it really necessary to rip his shirt like that? You've got a hypo spray, you could have just put it on his neck. Just as they're about to crash, Spock and Scotty input the formula to pull them out, and it works. But as it does, the ship experiences a time warp which throws them 3 days into the past, with Spock remarking they have 3 days to live over again. So they travelled back to before the virus was even caught, or before they even made their way to Psi 2000. How convenient. And that'll do it for today. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to leave a like and comment something random like,
Spock can pinch my neck any day.
I've been Callum, I'll see you in the next one. Live long and prosper.